You just look like you're doing like a Lewis Black when he starts getting mad.
I'm so underprepared.
You have all those words written down.
Look at all that stuff.
compared to mine, compared to Tom's.
Well, it says I read it and retain it. Mr. I have 70% memory comprehension.
Shush. It works.
Welcome to Entertain This, a podcast about movies, TV shows, video games. Yes, there was a pause. I was thinking about what I was going to say. We're going to start off with our social media real quick. You can watch us on Buzzsprout. Well, you can listen to us on Buzzsprout.com.
Hey, I'm Hayden, by the way.
I'm Tom.
Oh, yeah. There's these guys.
That's Tom.
Hi.
I'm Mitch.
There you go.
Told you I'm not a good host.
You're getting it.
Power
Working
through.
it out.
Anyways, we have our Buzzsprout where you can listen to us on Buzzsprout.com. We're Entertain This with an exclamation point. On Instagram, we're entertain.this or at entertain.this. On Twitter, we're at this.entertain. Patreon, we're patreon.com/entertain_this. And on our YouTube page, we're just entertain this with exclamation point.
I felt like you did better without the book.
I probably did. Because I was trying
Like
to
you
read
actually
what I wrote.
forced to remember it, and you were like, "All right, we're on." It's like I got it all. Now you're like, "Oh, I have to read it."
Well, see, I wasn't actually sure what I was saying on the other ones was right. I just went with it.
You were more confident about it.
We're officially making an addendum to the Patreon. We've heard some advice from our producers and some people outside, some listeners and stuff like that have been asking questions about the Patreon. You know, the first and most important thing is yes, give us your money.
Absolutely.
But the second important thing is
And like our videos.
yeah,
Comment on our videos.
that's apparently an important thing. You know, smash that subscribe button and ring that bell and whatever.
Subscribe, share, like, comment.
Like, all that stuff. You know, it is important. It helps, you know, streamline our content to what you need. But the Patreon. So the way it works is we have a $3 subscription, a $5 subscription, and a $10 subscription. For $3, we just say, hey, thanks for paying $3, Joe Smith, you know, and we'll drop your name, and, you know, if you want us to say a small little message, we can do that. No? We don't do that? Never mind. Let's let Mitch talk about it.
For $3 we could though.
No, we have a $7, a $10, and a $20.
Do we really?
We
Really?
do.
Ah, there it is. All right. What's
All right,
the
Mitch,
$7
tell us
one?
about it.
You have to. I don't have it pulled up. I don't remember.
Well,
You don't have it. You have it written down.
No, I don't have it written down. I didn't know I was talking about all that at the moment.
okay.
Give us money, we'll figure something out.
We had a you know, a crash course on how Patreon works before all this stuff.
Let me find this.
One of the suggestions though is that for $10 we allow you guys to decide the punishments, and so at this point in a game, if you do the $10 subscription and you really just want Tom to have to watch some terrible movie, which makes perfect sense,
It doesn't. In
you
any
know,
way.
or play a terrible video game or TV show or whatever, by all means, throw that money down, and Tom will suffer through for your entertainment purposes.
Or if you enjoy watching Mitch suffer virtually every episode we've done,
Yeah.
just keep the party going.
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
admit my fallacy. We do have a $3.
Ah,
We have a 3, a 7, and a 20.
okay.
It's the odd assortment of numbers.
So the $7. Okay, so the $3 one does what?
We'll give you a shout out, like a small advertisement. If you have a business or whatever, we can give you a one-time shout out for that, or a birthday announcement. You want to say, you know, hey to someone on air. The $7 is we'll do the same as the 3, and then you could do it like a weekly, like advertisement for a business or something like that.
Yes.
We'll also take more of your suggestions over, you know, just coming up with our stuff randomly.
The crap we come up with.
Yeah, well, you know, if there's something that other people want to hear more about, we'll take more of your suggestions. We'll do a little more research into it, or at least I will. And then our $20, you'll have the ability to vote in our Patreon polls. We'll take suggestions on your content. We'll give you shout outs weekly for your business, or if you want to say hey to somebody. You could also get, for the $20 one, if you wanted to be a live guest on the show, you know, we could bring you in.
Right.
You would have to kind of cover your travel and lodging depending on where you're from.
Yeah, that
Neil Braden, we're talking to you.
that fellow listener from France.
And with the $20 tier, you would get a one-time 3D printed gift from the show.
Sweet. Cool. Well, also for the $7 one, we'll throw you down for the one-time use and the punishment. So we'll go ahead and make an addendum to that.
The $7 one, I don't have it with me, but we have the Entertain This pins that I could get some more made and hand out.
Sweet. Yeah. So if you got a terrible movie, I mean, you can always suggest it and we'll add it to the wheel, but you're going to be guaranteed a one-time go on making Tom watch that movie that you really want him to watch. So, okay, cool. Moving on from social.
Let's go ahead and start with Tom down there. We'll just work our way this way because mine ties into.
Well, we got the punishment.
Oh,
so-
yeah. Yeah. What was that punishment?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Damn it. Beep.
We already
Oh, yeah,
talked
I
about this
forgot.
multiple episodes
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, I forgot.
Damn it and bastard are included.
I forgot.
We've had plenty of conversations with our
Conversations
producers on what exactly
constitutes profanity.
So, basically, if it bleeps now, you know that was a bad word. So
That was a no word. I had to play Shaq Fu.
yes,
It's like trying to ride a bike that has one wheel. It's not a unicycle. It was designed to have two. It's a training wheel that on the front, and the handlebars are crooked and it's dark out. And you
Okay.
don't know how to ride a bike to begin with.
all right. Well, okay. So first off, what did you play it on?
I played it on my laptop on an emulator.
What platform did this game come out on?
Was it Sega?
I don't know.
Super Nintendo.
I think it was Super Nintendo.
It was SNES.
Yeah.
Right. I went to two websites. The first one I went to, I had to download an emulator and like all this crap. And I was waiting for it to download. I was like, let me try this other one. And I scrolled down. It's like, I was like, start now, start download. And I just saw play and I clicked it and the game just started.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, 2.5 hours of my life I'm never going to get back. I don't know what the plot is.
So okay, Shaq Fu, you play as
Shaquille
Shaq
O'Neal, the basketball player.
in like a knockoff Street Fighter world, right?
It was like a knockoff of Street Fighter, and the person had never heard of Street Fighter, and it was described to him over the phone. And they were just like, you should make it about a basketball player. And he chose Shaq, and there you go. You have one move,
Shaq
kicking. That's it. Which is ridiculous, because it starts, you have duel. So I did duel against this like robot-faced, lion-looking dude.
Yeah.
And he's blasting stuff at me. He's lifting shit off the ground and spiking it back.
There's
getting
a dirty
crap-
word.
Yeah, that's a dirty word. There's going to be a lot of dirty words right now. And you're just getting the snot beaten out of you. And you can't move easily. You tab over to the right to, walk. And Shaq just goes, "Meh." Like, he just, like, kind of trips in that direction and goes all of 7 inches.
Shambles.
He shambles over. But if you pressed up and right, you go all the way across the map, and you can't even hit your target. And then when you get to him, you basically have to pin somebody in the corner and just kick the crap out of them and hope it works.
Shaq is such a huge man that it probably makes sense that a lot of computations go into making him take a step. You know what I mean?
A lot of energy is expended.
So he's got like the short step and then like the regular step for Shaq, which is basically across the map. So
Yeah.
But so all he does is kick. There's never a basketball that he slings at anybody.
If I've mashed every button on the keyboard
Yeah.
at once just to see what would happen, nothing. I still kick the guy in the shin.
Wow. So you beat a guy, and then what happens? You just go to the next guy?
No, that's it. So I did story mode after duel, trying to figure out the controls and learning I can only just kick people. So I start the story mode, and apparently, I guess he's in Tokyo,
No.
and
Okay.
he's going to meet somebody, and then it immediately goes to the map, and I don't know what the plot is. If there was one. Because like he's like asking this guy like I'm about to fight, and he's like, "Where's so and so and the kid?" And the guy's like, "Oh, I'll never tell you." And then the fight, I'm like, "Who's this guy and the kid? What happened to him? I don't know. They don't tell you. It's just a freaking mystery. You just show up and he's asking questions, and you're like, "But why? Why? I want answers." Apparently, Shaq does too. So like
That's
you
why
go
he's
around
kicking
this
people.
stupid map, you fight somebody, and it's like I guess if you lose 2 in a row, you're done. So it's 2 out of 3, and I lost a lot of fights. I got the snot beaten out of me, but then I figured out if I just get him in the corner, I could just kick him repeatedly by just by mashing the crap out of the button. I was like, I can get him, I can get him, I can get him, and I still almost barely won.
Wow.
I beat some like Asian like kung fu master Roshi looking dude with a bow staff. And this dude's like shooting like, energy beams at me. He's like got a bow staff. And I'm just standing there in a freaking basketball jersey going, yeah.
I think if Shaq shows up to Japan and just starts kicking people,
Oh, Godzilla.
There should be a. Yeah. They probably make a Godzilla movie based.
They probably elect him to like office.
Yeah.
It's like, you protector of Japan. I just offended a lot of people.
Probably.
If you're listening in Japan, sorry.
I don't know. I wonder what Shaq thinks of Shaq Fu. I wonder if there's a clip out there or something where
He pretends like he doesn't know.
I watched a video of him like defending the game.
Really?
Because they remastered it apparently.
Oh yeah.
Like Legends or something or
Why?
whatever the crap. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, this is IP. He wants it to be successful, like Shazam. You know. So,
Look, Shaq's best role, the best thing he's done aside from play basketball and just being tall as hell, was he was in Good Burger.
oh,
That's
man,
it.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
And by
he's
the
in the
way,
beginning.
By the way, it was Kazam, not Shazam.
I am Kazam.
Oh, my bad.
Just for
saying.
those keeping score at home.
The sequel, Kazoo. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10,
6 being the highest. This game gets like a 1.
okay.
Like, I'll give you credit for making it.
I think we need to like sit down and lay down some hard rules in our scoring because Cat's got a 1. So I don't know.
But that's in the medium of film.
that's
Like in the
movie.
medium of a playable video game and all the games I've played in my life, where does this rank?
I gave Soda Drinker Pro a 1, and I fell asleep literally playing that game. You know?
I almost fell asleep playing Shaq Fu.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I did play after work, but I played 2 hours, and I sent pictures of me playing. I actually sent a picture of that I had actually killed some. I defeated an opponent. If I could find the damn photo, I did take a picture. Where is it?
We believe that you
Yeah.
actually did this.
I know.
I
did.
promise. Yeah.
Because apparently they don't believe it anytime I get punched if I actually watch
Well,
it or not.
Yeah.
Or play it.
There's
But
been some.
suspect.
Yeah. So,
Some sus activity.
but
Pretty sus.
well, very nice, Tom. I'm proud of you. You suffered through. And video game punishments are lacking platform right now. Are lacking form to punish people.
It gets
haven't-
chosen very rarely.
So
It's the hardest one to do.
we've all had one video game, right?
Yeah.
I've done Shaq Fu. You did Soda Drinker Pro.
I had the unicorn thing.
The unicorn thing.
Oh yeah.
No, I had the Thunder in Paradise video game too.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
had the
You didn't
monster
even play
trucker
it.
game. You had the trucker game too, didn't you?
Yeah, I had the trucker game. Well, it's because the other two that I couldn't find anywhere to download.
rigs.
Big rigs.
All right. Cool. So that's our punishment.
Oh, and before we move on to our TVs, video games, and movie news, there was this thing on Tuesday. This thing that everybody had to do, and it was vote for your galactic overlord.
That's right.
We had your options were Darth Vader, Thanos, Skeletor, and Megatron. Sadly, Skeletor and Megatron had no options. Somebody added in Galactus.
Somebody had a write-in ballot.
Yeah, somebody wrote
It's
in
a
Galactus.
democratic process at work.
It'd be funny if somebody wrote in Joe Biden and Trump.
Just saying. Just saying. Vader
Ralph
won in a landslide.
Vader did.
Yeah.
It's because he choked out the competition.
Vader has failed at every single aspect of his attempt to power.
But he can't personally do everything.
He's filled gloriously.
Thanos can. Thanos literally did everything by himself and was able to pull off what he set out to do. Just saying. The way he punched out the Hulk in that one movie was pretty epic. So,
But anyways, moving on to our reviews and news. I'll let Tom, you go first.
Well, I had movies.
Okay. Well,
So
there you
I
go.
watched The 12th Man. I was looking for some.
What do you watch? Like
It's just on Netflix. It was a suggested
you find the
film.
most obscure movies.
Well, I'm trying to broaden people's horizons. I'm trying to be cultured.
I watched this 1920 Zimbabwe film. You know,
I don't think Zimbabwe existed as a
I
country
don't
in the
know.
1920s.
just the most obscure. Like you put a lot of like film students that I know to shame with your.
Obscure
Niche
knowledge.
knowledge of films.
Yeah.
Well, I watched this. It's based on true events.
Yeah.
During World War II, in Norway, they send 12 Norwegian guys to Norway to blow up stuff and sabotage stuff in Norway against the Germans. And it does not go well right off the bat.
Really?
11 of them get captured.
Oh,
One
I
gets
have
shot
seen
in-
this movie.
Oh, really? Have you,
Look at
Brandon?
there.
This is the one where the dude like hides in an ice cave for like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, the movie emphasizes the suffering and the survival.
I was like, wow, this guy's been suffering for an hour now.
Like he's like in sub-zero waters and trying to evade the Germans. He gets his toe shot off.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's
the beginning was really interesting. The halfway through was pretty boring from what I remember, and at the very end, it got interesting again. So.
yeah, it's kind of a slow burn in the middle. The movie could have been shorter. It features one actor I knew, and it's the guy who plays the Nazi, I guess like SS guy. Well, he has to because he has a toe and cuff thing on his hat.
In what?
He played Henry in The Tudors.
I don't know.
No, I'll pull up.
It's fine. Just so
It came out in 2017. The cinematography is very, very good. Norway is a very beautiful looking country. It looks also very cold, so dress appropriately.
Was it
Jonathan Rhys Meyers? That guy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's in stuff.
Yeah. What was the production? Was this a UK production or was this a?
I think this was a Norwegian production.
Okay. It was they didn't speak English throughout the film, did they?
Yeah. Because there's scenes where they're back in England, where English officers are speaking in English. The Germans will speak German, and all the Norwegian guys speak Norwegian.
Okay, so it just flopped all around. So
yeah,
it wouldn't have been true to the time though. Like nobody would have spoken English, would they?
What, in England?
Yeah. No, wait. There was English people there, like the actors.
No. Like the 12th guy, because he makes it. Spoiler.
It's based off of history. So.
This stuff happened 70-something years ago. It's not spoiling anything. When he's back in England, the English officers are talking in English.
Gotcha. All right,
so
cool.
Wherever you're at in the world, they're speaking that language.
The languages are Norwegian, German, and English. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right, cool. Interesting. So, what year was this?
2017. It had a budget of 64 million Norwegian krona.
So
I don't know what the exchange rates are, but the box office rate poll in Norway was $9.6 million.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe.
I think they made some money.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
I don't know what the dollar to krona currency exchange rate is off the top of my head.
$15 could be 1 krona. Who knows?
Hey, if you're looking to live big and live large in a cold country, Norway.
Who knows?
If you want to eat tripe. Sheep's stomach.
Is that what it is? I thought that was hummus.
Ooh.
No,
Not hummus.
hummus is a dip.
What's the?
If that's hummus, you tricked me.
What's
haggis?
Haggis. That's what I was thinking of.
That's like intestines. It's like.
Ugh.
Well, they all.
If you want to listen to more of us debate about food and what constitutes disgusting
animal
dishes,
organs.
write to us.
So,
it wasn't a bad movie. It could have been a little quicker pace. They could have cut out some of the stuff.
Yeah.
They really emphasize the suffering and the torture. Like, really do. Like, there's a scene like they're torturing one of the Norwegian guys, and like this Nazi doctor guy just looks like he just doesn't care. And he's just sitting there. He's got his jacket unbuttoned, and he's putting these pins underneath this dude's fingernails, all the way into the joints. And then he drops when he's like, ah, crap. He just looks like he's like, these damn people and all this torture.
I don't get paid enough.
I don't get paid enough for this crap. I'd give it a 6.
Yeah.
It was worth the watch.
Okay.
I like filmed on location is always nice. Historically accurate is what I like to see in a war documentary film, so to speak. So they think they did a pretty good job.
They fit your niche.
I was cold watching it, and I had 3 shirts on and my stuff, and I was just sitting there looking like, man, I'm getting I need a jacket,
Wow.
maybe a turtleneck.
All right. Well, what's your news for movies?
Well, there's they're making into a movie the book called The Things They Carried, which is
that's a great book.
Oh,
yes, they're making it into a movie.
I saw that. That's Tom Hardy's going to be in it.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's, Stephen
It's a
James, Bill.
Very depressing book.
Yes, very.
But
Bill Skarsgård, Pete Davidson, Ty Sheridan.
Pete Davidson. Yeah. But they've been trying to make this into a movie for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the author,
Tim O'Brien,
he
who was in Vietnam.
Yeah, I mean, but he was kind of very careful about who would adapt it, and that's why it had such a hard time getting picked up. Who's producing it?
Nothing says yeah. Nothing.
It doesn't say who's producing. Yeah, it does.
It's bankrolled by Tom Hardy's production company.
Amy T. Hugh of MJZ will serve as an
executive producer.
I don't know who
David
that is.
Zander will be producing alongside Hardy and Dean Baker.
Well, if Hardy's involved, I'm sure he's got enough power in the game. To
They're expected to start filming early 2021 in Thailand.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, Things That Carry is a book about a bunch of Vietnam American soldiers that get basically stranded behind enemy lines or something like that. But they have to go forever. Like they just have to march forever to get back to their people. And throughout their journey, they decide to start leaving things like bodies of their friends.
Mementos from home.
Well, eventually it comes down to where they have to make decisions like, do I give up this picture of my so-and-so or do I give up an extra canteen of water, and then things that they decide to carry with them, it's that emotional pull on why they chose to do that. It's a very powerful, it's a human story. So especially in like the very logical world of war and stuff like that. So,
and I think those actors will be pretty good because they don't really have a whole lot of like action roles as far as like the cast. I mean, Tom Hardy does.
I was going to say like Tom Hardy.
Well, yeah, he does. But other than that, I mean, they fit the people you would expect to see, like their first, a soldier just getting first time in war. They don't fit like they're this tough grunt.
They look like most of them look like normal kind of guys who you could see in that role instead of like a bunch of like ultra handsome.
Yeah.
Well, like
Thor.
Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis.
Chiseled jaws.
Like Spielberg made
biceps.
a big stink out of Saving Private Ryan to shoot as much as he could chronological. At least he did the Normandy scene, I think, first, and it was because he wanted the actors to have this sense of not accomplishment, but like endurance, like they've endured some crap.
You can see like the haggardness in their faces, like he doesn't have to act it; they just look that way.
And you can kind of see like when they're on the boats landing on Normandy, like they have this like green kind of appearance to themselves. Some of them do though. And then or like that annoying little typewriter.
The most hated character in a movie.
But by the end of that movie, he's just like has a completely different complexion. He's just like he just doesn't care.
Still, it's Tom Hanks. Get it?
Yeah, that's true. So
crying on the damn staircase.
We'll see if they can portray those little war nuances that are important to people. Like I would care about. So
it seems like they're trying to do, I guess, a bit of a resurgence in Vietnam War movies. I mean, there hasn't been as many as World War II.
Yeah.
Or even the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I wonder how well those movies market outside. I know domestic pretty much is dependent. Like those movies are dependent on domestic box office because a lot of those movies, American war movies, don't do well. Obviously, outside of our country,
they don't care outside.
They're losers.
So
back to back World War champions.
Sorry, French guy.
Well, I don't know. All right, cool.
TV shows?
Yes.
Would you watch?
I am about halfway through Battlestar Galactica.
The 1978 show?
No.
Damn it.
The 2000 something show. So the short of it is I didn't know anything about this at all. I knew that it was a reboot or a sequel series to the 1970 show where a bunch of these nerds were trying to pull off Star Trek and Star Wars in the same kind of vibe. And I don't think I ever watched 5 minutes of the original show. I just know that they had like these like jet-looking ships, and they flung themselves out.
They're called Colonial Vipers,
and they shot Cylons, which were these toaster-looking dudes with a laser beam,
which looked cool.
So I was like, okay, how are we gonna make this into a cool TV show that everybody talks about? Apparently, if you're a sci-fi nerd and you haven't watched the show, you're not a sci-fi nerd. So I started watching the show, and you know what? It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. It doesn't age as well as you would want it to. The CG that they have for the Cylons, which are predominantly these, like they definitely gave them like an update. They're like got these like sharp knife looking hand things, and they're more menacing with their laser beams and stuff like that. And they actually call them toasters as like a derogatory term. But 9/10 of them, it's people are Cylons, and you don't know who the Cylons are, which makes for great drama because
They've infiltrated.
Yeah, they've
Like the
infiltrated
Terminator.
But the gist of the show is it's not really people from Earth. I can't quite understand what's going on with like the origins of humans because
They're from the planet like what, Caprica?
well, they're from Caprica. Apparently, all the colonies of humans that I have no idea about came from a planet called Kobol, and something to do with Earth about that too.
That was like one of the lost colonies.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the original, anyway.
Well, long story short, what you think you understand the origins of the human race in this show, they keep kind of pushing it off, and then they'll divulge information at their whim when they want you to know about how their history of the show works and stuff like that. And there's sequel series or prequel series called Caprica, and there's one called like Blood and Chrome or something stupid like that.
Sounds like a Mad Max movie.
Yeah. So like, who knows what comes out of those other series? And apparently they're working on something else, a movie or something like that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so humans are living on this planet called Caprica, and it gets nuked. And then the Battlestar Galactica is like in its decommissioning ceremony. They're about to like just scrap it for parts when the planet gets nuked. This is the miniseries before the actual show starts, by the way. And that's the only working Battlestar. That's the name of the
that's
ship.
the class of the ship.
Yeah, and the Battlestar is now basically like the sole defending force of the remnants of the human fleet. And they're all like mining ships and prisoner ships and luxury ships. That's all that's left of humanity in this fleet of hodgepodge ships. And Battlestar runs the security. All the president and his people have been killed off, except for like the 32nd person in line.
She was like
Board
in charge. Education.
Yeah, she was in
like
charge of like kindergarten teaching or something like that. She's now the president, and her and him basically work to maintain the identity of humanity during the apocalypse and their survival.
General Adama.
General Adama is played by Edward James Olmos, who he's in movies like Blade Runner and stuff like that. He's actually really awesome. I've never really identified him as like a character, but for him to be like a show running series face, he's really good. He can carry the emotion, and for him to be like the dad of the show, the mom, I can't remember her the mom, the president who's basically the mom of the show. She's the wife of Bill Pullman from Independence Day.
No.
Yeah, that's all I remember. Yeah. She has terminal breast cancer, and she's got to do a bunch of stuff before she dies. And this is all in like the miniseries. They pitched the show in a 2-episode miniseries.
Like hour long each episode.
Kind of like the original.
And I guess it did well enough that they were able to greenlight the rest of the show, which is a really interesting idea. I don't know much about other marketing strategies to pitch, because you don't usually let the audience see a pilot or the concept of a film and let the audience decide for a network. But Sci-Fi, believe it or not, was the one who made this show. I guess Sci-Fi was taking itself pretty seriously back then, before Sharknado and whatnot.
They were. They were.
And this was like 2001, I think, when the show came out. Maybe 2004. I don't know. I should have written this stuff down. But they allowed the audience to see their pilot miniseries concept. And I guess from the reviews that came in, it did well enough that they spawned 4 seasons of the show. So, and it's a really good show. The writing is pretty interesting. It's very strong in the first season. In the second season, they get into like religious kind of stuff, and it's kind of lazy writing at certain points, because characters will do stuff because the scriptures say so. It's almost like the script says so. So these characters are doing it. They're just quoting what they have to do because they're programmed to. Not like they're Cylons. Like they're actually like, okay, the Bible says do this, I'm going to go do it. And you've never read the. You don't know anything about the religion, so they're saying like, go kill this guy because it's
the prophecy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
All right, whatever. I've never heard of that up to this point.
No further explanation.
So that's a little lazy writing, but the interwoven. My favorite part of the show is how they do the narrative. They have a serial show, which is you understand from beginning to the end of the series what's going on, and each episode is basically a nice little bow-tied chapter that gives you portions of that show. It's not like Game of Thrones where you never really get closure with any of the characters in any of the episodes. It just happens when it happens 10 or 15 episodes in for this one character. Each episode has closure for every character. And if it leaves you in a cliffhanger with any of them, it's a part one. So, but they, for the most part, it's like, okay, this crisis has been averted. Tune in for the next episode to see what the new crisis is while they're trying to, figure out how to fix the overwhelming crisis, which is the annihilation of the human race. Yeah, and intermittent with like people who are like hallucinating, seeing Cylons, and people who are, are you a Cylon? Am I a Cylon? What's a Cylon?
Are we Cylons?
Yeah, and then you got like political turmoil, people trying to stage coups, prisoners revolting. It's got everything. It's got love. It's got space explosions. Honestly, like the special effects for like the space fights, they're not great, but they're not horrible. I think the cheesiest parts are when they get into gunfights and they have these like giant Nerf guns, and you can almost see them going like pew pew, and then they just add in all the post effects and stuff like that afterwards. There's one part where Starbuck, who is your basic blonde girl who wears cowboy boots, she her character is kind of interesting. I guess the Starbuck was a dude in the original series, right?
Yeah, it was the guy who I don't remember his real name, but he played Face in the A-Team. He was on that.
Well, so this is a cigar smoking.
Yeah,
drinking.
he smoked cigars, gambled.
Well, this is her.
Around.
She's the same way, and she's she's very she doesn't have a whim. She doesn't care. Her strategies and plots are so ridiculous and crazy they might just actually work. Those are those kind of things.
You're a wild card.
But for the short of it, she's always in like winning fights and by getting her butt kicked essentially. So like one of those kind of people. Like, how did you possibly win? And she's like always got a broken leg in her or something like that. But there was this gunfight scene where she's got two Uzis and she's just like Matrix running through people and stuff like that, and it looked really bad. And they do this thing where like, kind of like in Jurassic Park where, they try to disguise the CG by dark lighting. Mm-hmm. Well, for Battlestar Galactica, what they do is they blow out the lighting.
Yeah, so bright.
It's so bright that it's almost like saturated to the point where you can't tell what's CG and what's not. And that's their way of like hiding it.
The people are CG, not the robots.
Yeah, it's kind of bad looking, and that doesn't age very well. So it looks kind of very amateurish, and I get it.
It was the Sci-Fi Channel, correct?
It was, well, yeah, it was before 4K cameras and all sort of kind of stuff. But other than that, the most part, like the acting is really good. Some of the background actors and side actors they have are pretty terrible, but it's a show. What are you gonna do? The stories are written really well, and how they give you pieces of the information, it's really good.
Well, so I was gonna say I like the way the Cylons are presented, like the ones that look human.
Yeah,
they don't give you like, oh, this guy might be a Cylon because he's acting a little strange. You don't know until they decide to reveal it to you.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty well.
Yeah,
concealed.
and then they'll do things like they'll give you information, and you'll be like, okay, this is where they're going with the plot. And then they'll be like, no, that's not at all. Like for instance, one dude is afraid that he's going to get caught doing something he shouldn't have been doing. So he just makes a bold claim that guy's a Cylon. And you're like, oh, no. Now they're going to direct all their attention on this poor innocent man they all think is a Cylon because this dude's being a jerk.
Gary is sus.
Yeah, but you come to find out he actually was a Cylon. So, you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming. So, so they're really good about, disguising where they're going with the stories. So yeah, the writing's good, acting is pretty good, effects and stuff, but I can see why people enjoy it. So I give it a 7.
Watch the original.
I don't know if I'll ever come around to that. So
it's almost in the same. It was a TV movie. It was a 3-part TV movie that they ended up making into a show.
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna finish the one that I'm watching now. I don't know if I'll go into all the prequels and sequels and stuff like that, but I'm enjoying it. So
Was Richard Hatch in this one?
who's that?
He's the guy who he was in the original show and then like wrote a whole bunch of books.
No.
Like Battlestar like series books.
No,
It's
it's
got
got
anything to do with it.
Katie Sackhoff plays Starbug. They got I can't remember the name of her name is number 6. She's like the blonde Cylon
blonde
sex
running.
object that they constantly keep throwing at you. And then it has she's just got introduced Lucy Lawless. She's like the media person.
She made it into that show?
Yeah, she's in everything like from the early 2000s. I didn't even realize it.
That is true.
It's pretty cool how they handle current events too. Like they throw in how would the media cover the end of humanity and all this other kind of stuff. So, but yeah, great show. If you like sci-fi, yeah, you should probably watch this. So, all right, there's my review. News. WandaVision is apparently super important to the MCU.
Very important.
That's all they keep talking about. They keep saying there's leaks and stuff like that have proven. I don't know. I'm not too big into spoilers for the MCU right now, so I kind of skim. But for some people are saying something to do with WandaVision and Doctor Strange, the movie coming out. There's a massive reveal about how something happens with those two movies. So the spoiler-free version of news of the MCU, if you're interested in that, you can do a little bit of a digging and you'll probably find that spoiler that if you want to. If not, well, I didn't tell you.
If they're following the comic books, I could tell you.
Okay, well, I'm trying to avoid it.
Okay.
So then, hey, you remember that crazy show from the 90s with Chuck Norris where he went around and kicked the crap out of a bunch of Mexican Americans and stuff like that? So
And nefarious ne'er-do-wells.
yeah. Walker, Texas Ranger. Let's reboot that movie. Let's do or that TV show. Let's reboot that.
Let's make it.
Let's put it on the best network of all, CW, where they'll throw as much money as they can.
Is this going to be called Running?
But at least it's not a teen drama. That's all I gotta say.
That's true.
Walker, the high school years. He has a full beard.
It's got out of work Jared Padalecki.
Yep.
Now that Supernatural's done. So
Will Chuck Norris be in this in any way?
I don't think he can. He's got to be 90 or something now, isn't he?
Is he?
I don't know.
I know he's
super
old.
old.
Like he aged very well for a
Maybe
while.
he'll end up being the old bartender guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. It's like get him in there.
I hope they do the Haley Joel Osment episode. I have AIDS. Did you ever see that one?
No.
Yeah. Walker says I have AIDS. Like apparently he gets AIDS for some reason. This like 7-year-old kid, and Walker, Texas Ranger, has to break the news to him. It's like the most awkward.
Walker told me I have AIDS.
Chuck is 80 years old.
Jeez. So, anyway, yeah, we'll see if this blows up. It'd be really weird if Walker, Texas Ranger,
Makes a comeback.
yeah. I don't know, just lots of roundhouse kicks.
There's a lot of older relatives I had like growing up who were obsessed with this show.
Yeah, and then Clive Barker, the guy who did Hellraiser, is doing a Hellraiser TV show.
There you go.
There you go. There's my TV news. Yeah. All right.
Done.
All right, well, I guess we'll move on to my video games,
No.
which to kind of go with the theme of our main talking point, I played the remake of Resident Evil 2.
There's a theme.
Yeah, it's games that we would like to see remade, remember? The one that I told you to research about,
Yeah.
that you gave me a list about.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was the first one to give you stuff.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, now
We're all
coming,
here.
it's coming back.
All
This
together now.
episode's
Good.
sponsored by caffeine.
But anyways, I played the remake of Resident Evil 2, which I had watched my cousin play the original because I was little and I didn't want to play it. And I've come to the realization, I don't like playing horror games. I love watching horror stuff. I love watching other people play horror games. I do not like the anticipation of what's through this door.
I think playing horror games, I think it's worse than watching a horror movie. Because you are somehow in control of what's
Yes.
going on. Like, you realize like you are impacting how scared you're going to be.
You're more immersed.
You're more immersed, yes.
Well,
Immersed.
and they did a really
immersion.
good job of, in the original game, everything was brightly lit. You could walk down, you could see the stuff across the room.
Right.
In this, you have a flashlight. And if you're not looking in that direction, it's dark.
Right.
If you up the difficulty, does like the light get less and less? Like if I'm like super hard mode, you have like a Bic lighter.
I don't know. I'm playing it on the easiest mode, and I'm still having trouble because like one bite from the zombie will take you down, and I think you get like essentially you could have survived like 4 bites. Well, one bite like takes you down, and I mean the way the mechanics work, unless you have a knife, you can't fend it off. Like if they grab you, you're bit.
Yeah.
So
That's horrible.
yeah, you got to watch the
knife
whole.
is the most important weapon in this game.
Yeah, but if you use it too much, it wears out.
Yeah, it's dumb.
And then, ammo is not very easy to find either.
Yeah. I mean, it's a true survival game because,
Yeah.
you're like, do I kill this one zombie with my 5 bullets or do I run away?
I mean, it essentially takes 5 to 6 shots in the head to kill the zombies.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake of one surprised me. Like I walked out and it fell over the stairwell and like in front of me, and I shot it like 15 times. Just
Mag dumped him.
it landed like at my feet, and I didn't want to get bit.
He's gonna bite my toes.
Well, then I realized I'm like looking and one's crawling through the window. I'm like, I've got 2 bullets left.
Make 'em
I
count.
should run.
One for you, one for me, zombie.
Like
Joe got it.
the last part I got to, like I was walking around, and I came through this one door, and I walk in, and the character goes, "What the hell is that?" And you could see the liquor on the like ceiling at the far end of the hallway. I just kind of pulled the nope and went to the other door.
I'm gonna try going that way.
I decided I'm gonna go try and find the shotgun first.
I played the old school Resident Evil games. I remember like there was a sensation, like they have these safe rooms where they'll have a typewriter and a chest where you can put your crap and clean your inventory out and stuff like that. And they always had like pleasant harp music, and it was like, this is a safe place.
It's
kind of
okay.
thing,
There's like a blanket, there's some throw pillows. It's like, it's all right.
I would just go in there and just like look at the paintings, just like look at the couch.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, just
everything's fine.
go to the door and be like, no, not yet.
I'm not ready.
Just kind of enjoy the atmosphere.
That's not the case anymore.
Yeah, they took all that stuff out in the remakes. There's no
There's no safety.
The zombies and lickers can't come into the safe room, but once you encounter Mr. X, he can follow you anywhere.
Yeah.
So
So,
Mr.
they did
X
that-
is like the Michael Myers-esque.
They rebooted Resident Evil 1 for the GameCube years ago, and they took that out too. They took those safe rooms out because I remember like
place is safe.
I went to a safe room and I was like, okay, at least they have this. And then the zombie burst through the door. I was like, no, not my safe rooms.
This is all I had left.
I got nothing.
I think if I made a game like a remake, the safe room would just be a bathroom.
Yeah.
Every time. It's like you get in and like lock the door. It's like, then like, while you're,
Close the stall.
yeah, you basically just close the door and go,
Pick your feet up.
But it was a lot of fun to play. I mean, it was nerve-wracking, but I like the way that they've changed the character movement a little bit. Like, when you're walking, you don't have to just stop and stand still to shoot. Now you can, move as you shoot. Because before it's like you'd walk, gotta line up the shot, you know, and then, and then there's you gotta revisit a lot of areas, and the zombies like respawn, or they'll come back, reanimate or whatever. So it makes it a little hard with the conserving ammo when you have to shoot the same zombie over and over.
This ridiculous world where they have like elaborate Victorian puzzles in a police station. Like make the statue of Apollo point to the third son of, Orion or something like that. And you're like, what police station am I
I've been in a couple of police stations. I've been in precincts in New York. Here it's like there's none of that crap.
So
But it was a fun game. A lot of the like the IMDb and IGN and stuff, they give it 9 out of 10 or 90% out of 100. I would say I could probably give it 8.59 just because even though it was terrifying to play, it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah, the perk of Resident Evil games is like once you get through the first half of the game, you're usually so overpowered. It's kind of like being in a war movie. Like you got that grit now. You're not bothered by all the horror that you see anymore. You're just like mow them down, get through it. Yeah, so it's an interesting feeling.
You go from to get some.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in this one.
No.
It's all.
Moving on to my news. You know that the awesome Bethesda multiplayer game of Fallout 76?
No,
Never heard of it.
Neither did anybody else.
not an awesome game, but yeah.
Well, Bethesda wants to make more games because they said now that's got such a positive review from that after they've done the updates. They want to make more multiplayer games. They think that the community will really love those.
Here's my thing. If I like a game and I trust the game company, I'll pre-order the game. The day that I get a game from you and I pre-order it and I get it and I'm playing it and I realize that I've made a mistake, you've burned that relationship with me.
It's gone forever.
Bethesda did that with Fallout 76, and I will never pre-order a game from them again. In fact, when they release Starfield or Star-Lord or whatever the hell a new game's coming out, and Elder Scrolls 6 and whatever amazing new game that they have coming out, I'm going to give it like a month just to see if like the world doesn't blow up or something like that, you know? So
I will pre-order Elder Scrolls 6.
CD Projekt Red has not done me wrong. I've already pre-ordered Cyberpunk, despite being delayed again, but you know, I'll just take work off again. Do
you want to go to the safe room?
Play
the heart music.
It's only the 4th time. It's whatever. But you know, the game will be great. I'm confident in it. I gave my money and my confidence. If they prove me wrong, screw you, CD Projekt Red.
I want the game to be good, but also part of me, like, if it sucks, I want to just see his reaction.
We'll have a special episode dedicated to that.
Profanity laden.
Well, also along with Bethesda, they also wanted to announce that any deals that they had prior to Xbox making them an exclusive, they're going to finish out with, you know, PS5 and everything. But after those deals are done, everything should be only on Xbox, like Elder Scrolls 6.
I think that's a good, especially if they're trying to push for multiplayer games. To have a parent company that kind of babysits them, like, no, this is crap. I mean, that's what Microsoft did with Halo. They saw the trailer when it announced at E3. They saw the audience's reaction, and they're like, we're not launching this with the new consoles. You're taking another year. And they fired 2 directors since then. So, you know, sometimes I'm all for creative freedom. But sometimes people can go crazy and get a little Kubrick or Alfred Hitchcock and just go off the rails. And you need a studio of people to bring them down to earth, you know, to ground people.
My interpretation of this.
No, that's not what you said in the beginning. No. Yeah, exactly.
And then there's also a new Star Wars game that's going to be coming out. Which
Really?
They don't want to focus on the Force. So it's gonna be like they said, more Mandalorian style, where it'll be, you know, focus on everything else. It'll be some kind of action adventure game.
Maybe you'll get your Bounty Hunter reboot.
Or maybe we'll get Star Wars 1313.
Possibly, yeah. And also, there's gonna be a new Silent Hill reboot that they're gonna start that franchise over in video games.
So, they got tough shoes to fill because when
Silent Hill Reloaded,
when
extra quiet,
Silent Hill harder,
the quieting.
When Kojima did that Silent Hill demo, everybody was like, "This is going to be the next best game," and then Konami fired him. So,
but yeah, that was my news and reviews. So now we'll move on to our main talking point, which is we kind of discussed and we put a comment out on our post out on Facebook, but games that haven't been remade that we think should be remade, and you know, kind of what our ideas would be if someone did. Like let's see, let me pull it up here.
And this is like a full-on like remake.
Yeah, and it's stuff that hasn't been remade. So we kind of included anything 2005 and newer, and older.
Remake is a broad, like,
not like it was out on Nintendo 64 or something, and then they're just like, oh, we got it on PlayStation now, and it's still the same game.
like
Yeah, right.
Like for instance, Ninja Gaiden on the NES compared to Ninja Gaiden Black on the Xbox. It's basically a completely different game, but they just picked up the IP and made it modern. So that could be considered a remake instead of just like a graphics update. You know what I mean? So
But from the Facebook post, we had people that like John said, Earthworm Jim. That's you know, that's something that hasn't
Never heard of that game.
You never heard of that?
Jim.
No.
You never played that game? It's a great game.
Basically, it was an earthworm in this spacesuit that went around shooting aliens.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Hey, it was a fun game. It was actually pretty adult for a game too for kids, but yeah.
Jamie says True Lies. I don't know what that is though.
Like the movie?
Was that a game that turned into a movie? They turned into a game? I don't know.
I think they might have gotten confused and were like, I want to remake this movie.
Charles, he says Contra.
Okay.
So I've never played that. Have you played?
I played the old school one. I think they've done sort of like a Metal Slug Contra knockoff thing since then. So it'd be really hard to remake games that were solely side scrollers to try and have that feel that hasn't been done already. You know what I mean? So
we got the Geomon's Great Adventure for the. Somebody wants it made for the Switch. Jennifer, You know, have you ever seen Geomon?
No.
It almost looks like a little Charmander kind of looking thing, but it's Spyro, like kind of like the Spyro games as far as like that kind of feel to them.
Spyro would be a cool game.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
Didn't they just come out with a new one recently-ish?
Let's see. We got Montezuma's Revenge. Somebody wants to see that.
These are
remade.
video games.
This
Yeah,
sounds like I
there's-
thought this was like a thing if you drank the water.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard of some of these games.
Huh.
My mom, she wants the boxing game that we played in Nintendo, which was called Ring King.
I thought you were going to say Knockout or Punch Out. I mean, Punch Out.
Oh no,
The hardest game ever.
Yeah.
this one was a little different. It was a very
Like a knockoff version of it or something?
I guess, but it was a lot of fun. Me and my dad played a lot. I never beat him, but we played that. It would be nice if some of these people that I have tagged, you know, the 50 or so people that I tagged would comment, like my little brother
Yeah.
or Walter or Kevin or several other people that I have tagged.
Hey, my people
Shame.
are responding. So, yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah, my family loves me. So,
Yeah,
My
you hear
family
that?
doesn't have a
Hear that,
Facebook.
family?
My
Tom
parent-
Tom doesn't have a family. He just has roommates.
yeah, I don't have Facebooks.
Facebooks.
Anyways, would one of y'all like to go first on the game that you would like most remade?
Yes, I'll go first. I saw it on the list too. Somebody said Chrono
Yeah.
Trigger.
That's why I was saving it. So,
And Chrono Trigger, who said on the list? Was it Charles or something?
let's see. It was
Or you just passed
past
it?
it. Chris.
Yeah, Chris, I totally agree. Chrono Trigger was an amazing game. The artwork was designed by Akira Toriyama, the guy who did Dragon Ball Z. And
I thought it looked like
yeah.
that, so I wasn't sure.
and the story was like one of the first complicated linear stories ever made as far as an RPG. So if you kill a character or you make a plot decision to do something in the game, it could change the ending multiple times. So basically, you play the game 30 times, you have 30 different experiences. For a Super Nintendo game, that was way ahead of its time.
That's very impressive.
And the weapons and the characters that you get and lose and whatnot along the way, it's a wonderful experience. And for them to remake something like that in like a Final Fantasy 15 kind of style, you know, with a third-person perspective and open world kind of a feel, you know, I think that'd be really awesome. So, yeah, that'd be my number one.
Okay. Tom, do you want?
My number one would be Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire.
Which you said on the post, but I figured I'd let you talk about it. So
It was, for those of you who actually played it, it was on Nintendo 64. One of the first Star Wars games. It was probably the first Star Wars game I ever played. So it's, you know, special to me. And this
now is that the one with Dash Rendar?
Dash Rendar.
Yeah.
And the,
Dash
Rendar. And the Outrider.
Okay.
And it was like one of the first games where like it's not about Luke, Han. You're not following the main people.
Yeah.
You know, your story, you know, takes place during that time, and you encounter those characters, but they're not really central to the whole thing.
Okay.
I mean, some of the missions and boss fights were like horrifying.
I just realized that one of the boss fights was IG-88, right?
Yeah, that's on the 4th mission on Ord Mantell.
He kills it.
Yeah, you destroy IG-88.
So what about the Mandalorian? Is that the same IG-88 or is that a different one?
Well, I don't think they consider Shadows of the Empire canon.
Oh,
They should. They should make that into a series.
well.
It'd probably be a good movie.
Dash shows up in Mandalorian season 3.
Dash Rendar. That'd be cool.
He's like a smuggler, but more smugglier than Han Solo.
He's a scruffy looking nerf herder smuggler.
He's even scruffier.
He's a smuggling.
He's the smuggliest smuggler.
He's a smuggler, smuggling around, smuggling.
Yeah.
We'll go on with our next one. I said, you know, we had the original Ninja Turtles game, which was like the little side-scrolling, like, kind of thing. I like the second one, which was also in the arcade.
Which was yeah.
Was that Turtles in Time or?
No, this was the second one. The Turtles in Time was the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah.
This was it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, which they say arcade game on the little NES Nintendo cartridge, but it was a lot of fun. Like me and my cousin and I guess my brother too, we put hours into this game trying to beat it because, you know, you get 3 lives and then you get like 2 saves the entire game. So it was a lot of fun, but to make it more modern day, I mean, they would have to add some levels because they have a lot of newer characters that they could incorporate. Like if you follow the comics, there's Old Hob, Karai, which has been in a lot of the TV series recently, Slash, which he was in the most recent one.
The guitar player.
The evil turtle. And then
Does he have a top hat?
no, he doesn't.
Okay, you went, oh, wait, does he?
But then they have like a Lopex, which is like this fox kind of character, and then a Leatherhead, which is the alligator. But if they need to make this, there's 4 of them. Make it a 4-player co-op game.
Yeah.
Just about every version is 2 players, unless you download the arcade version somewhere.
Yeah, I could see that being a big deal. If they gave it like a AAA kind of production, that'd be kind of cool.
Well, and they could put it into like an Arkham City style, like Batman style,
Open world,
or the Spider-Man, where you're fending. You have the Purple Dragon Gang, you have the Foot Clan, and then
Or the Spider-Man.
You have we got the mob and stuff where they're kind of battling over, and you got to fight them all off. But it would just be neat to see.
Yeah, it'd be neat.
I got another one. Either one of you?
Yeah, sure. Vice City.
Yes. I didn't think of that.
All right, so it'd be hard to do, and I don't really know the gist of it and how they pull it off, but because like the 80s was the cool appeal for Vice City. Hang on, my crotch is vibrating.
Told you not to wear those.
I don't know, you person from New Jersey.
It's one of our fans.
So like, like a graphics update, obviously, and then the gameplay. If they could somehow incorporate it into the world of GTA 5. I don't know how they would do it though, because GTA 5 is modern, and you have to have the 80s appeal of Vice City, which was like what made the call. Like that was like the most rich story out of all the Grand Theft Auto games, in my opinion.
That was my first Grand Theft Auto.
I think that's the first one I've played most of. Like I'd played 3 and stuff like that, but that's the one I played most of the story of.
It was the one where like you could go on a rampage and see how many stars you could rack up and stuff like that, but sometimes you actually cared enough about the story that you didn't want to. So
it's like you were busy. It's like I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
It's like I got to find out what happens next.
So yeah, that's mine. Number 2.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's,
1 and 2. They might as well just do both.
Even if it was just the same game, just modern, it'd be good.
If you gave me that game, little, smoother gameplay, because sometimes it's a little blocky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And updated graphics, I would play the hell out of that game.
I mean, I never actually got to play it because I didn't have an Xbox at the time, but I have sat through and watched the story, and the story was just amazing. It's
one of the best written story games that I've ever played.
And I'm sure they could incorporate some newer stuff with more modern canon things being incorporated, but
and also spawn the character of Darth Revan.
Yeah,
where he's like one of the most popular Star Wars characters, and like Disney was like, he's not canon, and everybody's like, bull.
Yeah.
We'll see about that, Disney.
Yeah.
It's like traitor.
It is a good game. It was one of the first games that I was blown away by the story.
It was the first Xbox game I ever got.
Yeah.
When the original Xbox came out, like when I finally got it and I had money and I bought it, that was the first game that came with it. Because I think it was at that point it was like a platinum hit game. Like it had already sold millions and millions of copies.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I finally played Knights of the Old Republic. And I was not disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, 360 was the first Xbox I had, so I didn't get to enjoy that. So
poor people.
I had PS2.
Poor person. I can't hear you over the sound of your poverty.
Don't worry. None of us have PCs, so we're like middle class.
Yeah.
So.
Upper middle class.
Yeah.
But the next game I thought should be remade is Blood Omen, which was Legacy of Kain. That was a fun game for, I guess it was PS2?
Yeah, I remember that game.
Or PS1, I can't remember.
That was PS1 for sure.
But, there was a lot of mechanics. Like, essentially, you had heavy attack and light attack, and then you could use your special abilities. I mean, there's a lot more they could do with it now, but...
It was one of the first games that had to do with, like, the way you lived was different. It was like your combat directly influenced your life. I think it's souls or something like that you get off of people from killing them is how you stayed alive or something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had to, like, basically, it's a vampire game, but instead of, like, biting them to absorb their blood, it's almost like you had, like, a magic power. Like, you stick your hand out and, like, draw the blood to you.
Yeah. It was weird because, like, it was a high risk, high reward kind of thing. Like, I could kill all these people and die, or if I kill them all and survive, I could live and be more strong or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So one of the first games that really pulled it off instead of just clearing a room and moving on.
And then they had a good story, but they didn't really dive into they would mention something and then just kind of go along. It's like, yeah, that was ancient. That was, it's ancient. It's important.
I don't remember the story at all.
Well, I don't remember everything from it, but I just remember liking that. But I just always wanted them to flesh out some of these ideas that they were using. So
yeah, it'd be interesting if they brought that back. I would like to see Majora's Mask rebooted. And now I know that they did some sort of graphics update at some point, but it doesn't count. I'm talking about like Majora's Mask was one of the first games that it was super underrated at the time. But essentially, like the whole plot of the game takes place in 3 days, and I think a day is 30 minutes maybe in the game. Maybe it's 10 minutes. I can't remember. So each character in the game has a scripted performance that they do in throughout those 3 days. So if you need to catch somebody at some point in any of those 3 days, you have to be there and know when they're going to be there. And if you miss them, you have to reset time and start all over again at the first day. And you have like your ocarina and stuff like that helps you do that. So for them to have such a well methodically planned out idea on how time travel works and all these different narratives, taking place and being affected by what you do in those 3 days time travel, that was such a cool new idea. They should have franchised that idea. They should have made like a Majora's Mask franchise. And I think if they were to reboot that, start it over with leaving the game kind of open-ended and bigger so that they could franchise that out and to make a whole new kind of Zelda franchise like that'd be awesome. I would be all about that. So there you go.
All right. And, Tom, you had mentioned the Lord of the Rings, Two Towers.
Yes, I love that game. Actually, I hated it the first time I played it. I'll tell you. I was homesick for like, I think I had the flu, and it was like close to my birthday, so I got in the game early, played it, and like the first mission, you're Isildur, you're running around Middle Earth, you're running around the Battle of the Barad-dûr or whatever.
I remember that.
Killing orcs, and then it starts like the Fellowship, because you go through the Fellowship and the Two Towers. So you go into the Fellowship and you got to fight the ring wraiths, who just stomp you. It took me like an hour and a half to figure out how to beat them. That you had to like parry it a certain way and strike, and you'd actually hit them with the fire and like set them on fire, and that's how you did damage. Once I figured that out, loved it. Great. I played. Man, I must have put like 400 hours into that.
And
game.
they just ended it, right? They didn't do the Return of the King battles and stuff like that, did they?
No, they did the Return of the King game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think at that time when this game came out, the
Return of the King had not come out yet.
Yeah.
All right.
So you play through. You can only play as Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli.
Yeah.
Right.
And as you go,
It was like a dungeon crawling kind of game.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Could you get better equipment and stuff like that?
Yeah, you could. Like Legolas's arrows, like they would glow or something like that if you held it.
Yeah, you can unlock skills that.
Yeah, you could level up the skills.
You could like unlock like a 3-arrow shot kind of thing.
Yeah, there's different combos you could do and like get perfect and like max out stuff. Like
That was
eventually, like
fun.
I had like purple fire arrows for Legolas.
Yeah.
That would drop Uruk-hai in one shot.
Yeah.
Because like one scene, like they blow the wall at Helm's Deep, and I would just play that mission only as Legolas, because eventually you can max out how many arrows you could carry.
Right.
So I had the maximum setting, and I'd just be sitting back there just going.
That was like the
murking people.
the most fun mission to play over and over.
And then like the berserkers would come running up, and it's like, hold it, for the power boost, and got him, got him. It's like I cannot be bested.
They've tried to kind of re-emulate that a couple times with Lord of the Rings games since then. They had War in the North. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think that was like a strategy game though.
I thought it was a dungeon crawling game.
No, I think it was a bit more strategy.
Oh, well, I don't know. I know that like the hack and slash, it can either go really well or it can just be repetitive and monotonous.
Like Lord of the Rings, like the Two Towers game, you're following in a very linear path. It's not it's not open world. You can't really choose where you're gonna go. You see an enemy in the distance, you are going to fight him.
Okay.
That's it. And I mean, it was a really, really fun game. Really loved it. If you haven't played it, it's on PS2. If you could probably find it still.
Right.
If not, I have it, and no, you can't borrow it.
Okay. Sorry, what's happening next?
I'll just talk about my one last game that kind of quickly mentioned that the Army Men 3D.
Oh, yeah.
We've all played the Call of Duty and all that.
I just liked our conversation about that. It's like the Army Men, like, you get shot and like plastic bits go flying. Like a medic's trying to like reattach a guy's leg, and he's like holding some melting wax trying to get it to
It'd be
glue.
rated E for everybody, but it would have like all the screaming sound effects of Army Men melting.
Yeah, from the flamethrower.
Yeah. They takes their plastic dog tags off and puts them in their pocket.
Get ran over by
He
it.
tries to put him in a pocket, can't because he just doesn't have it.
Like one of the kill streaks, you just got kids that come stomping through the map.
Some kid's got like a magnifying glass. It's like the Death Star.
Shooting
Yeah.
army men with bottle rockets and stuff like that.
I would play that game.
It would just be fun to see it remade.
If you make that, I would play that game.
Especially with more people on the multiplayer kind of stuff now, it'd be fun to see.
A war zone, plastic army people.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll have to move on to our punishments. Sorry, did you have something?
Yeah, I got Super Mario RPG. I think that needs to be remade.
I think so.
So Super Mario RPG came before, and we'll just knock the rest of this list out real quick.
Yeah.
But it came before Super Paper Mario or all that stuff, and it's an RPG of a Final Fantasy level. It was actually made by Square Enix and stuff like that. And it was a very it wasn't adult in content, but it was in story and what was going on, and the challenge of the game is a very adult Mario game, and it had some really cool characters and a really interesting plot, and then it just ended, and then nobody's ever seen it again, and Nintendo decided to make a watered down kid version of that with Paper Mario, which is fun, but Super Mario RPG was way ahead of its time and an awesome game, and I think it deserves a legitimate remake. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you said Star Fox.
Yeah, I think I had 2 games. Medal of Honor, European Assault,
Yeah.
great Medal of Honor game. If you played it, it was awesome. And Star Fox 64. I think Star Fox would probably do really well if they brought that out.
If they gave it an Ace Combat kind of level,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, Nintendo could definitely shell out for that, and just you could upgrade your R wings and get different kinds of, and then you could have some ground missions where you could run around and stuff too.
I mean, you could incorporate the Switch with the tilt and lean and all that stuff with holding the controller.
Get away from that motion control crap.
No,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, no, but you're sitting there, you go to scratch your leg, and next thing you know, you crash into a mountain.
Oh, true.
No.
But the last little game that I had listed was Twisted Metal 2. You make an RPG kind of version of that where you can make your own, choose your own vehicle class, choose your own
customize
loadouts.
everything.
That'd be really
awesome.
cool.
You can have a bigger battle royale-esque thing, kind of
I would totally play that.
all the other ones. But
My last one is Perfect Dark. Screw that 360 game. Just start over from just complete re-up the 64 one.
Mm-hmm.
Just act like it never happened and just start over again and give it a legitimate re-release and make it just with modern graphics and updates and have a story ready to come out, because that was a fun game and I think it deserves to continue on. But yeah, all right.
punishment.
Time to spin that wheel.
It is time.
Watch what it was on.
No! Damn it!
Yes.
What's he getting punished with then, Tom?
I'm punished by you, Mitch, and TV.
TV. All right.
Look at that, 4 in a row.
Let's go to the classic book here that I have had lost for a while and see what I got left.
I had to go through some of my notes and delete a bunch because I already used them.
Oh, you're watching Animorphs. The Nickelodeon version of Animorphs from 1993 or
it's
4?
pretty bad. Yeah.
I read the books.
No, that doesn't count. You got what's it? The guy that plays Iceman. He's in it.
Is he really?
He's the main guy.
Is that the one with the blue dude and he gets killed off early on?
I think so.
Doesn't somebody become a dolphin in that show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I watched that show. I watched the whole first
Oh,
season.
you've seen that? Oh,
I've seen that.
That's no good.
You could use a fresh take on it.
Okay.
I haven't watched it since it was new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do that.
So I'll
Watch it, enjoy the nostalgia, cringe at the nostalgia.
just nostalgia this, nostalgia that.
I just
I
remember
think your
seeing the
dad
opening.
is your dad's like a fucking prophet. He's just I'm predicting he's gonna get 5 in a row. It's been
start
3
taking-
in a row.
Start taking bets on this kind of stuff. So.
I just know Animorphs. I know I wanted to watch it
The
when I was
wheel
younger.
has betrayed me.
The opening scene to Animorphs is just kind of cringing. So I
Yeah.
figured the whole show would be good for you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
It's been a good couple of weeks.
Yeah. Too bad you'll be gone for the next 2.
That's
We're
true.
gonna break the cycle next week.
Yeah. Darn you, military service. And
Serving
This is
my
what you
country.
get for serving your country.
how
That's what
dare
you
I.
get. You get the business on this show.
Yep, I do. All right, take it away, Mitch.
What was I supposed to take away?
That book. Get it out of here now. Take it away.
Well, anyways,
Goodbye.
if you
Oh yeah, that.
if you enjoyed our content, you wanted to talk to us, please do. We really need your input, and
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
it definitely helps us streamline this this creative process that we go through to figure out what is worth talking about. And It's great. We love you guys coming up to us and talking to us in person. Okay, but we need it on the interwebs. That's what we need in order to get our
The
notes
two of
and
you
stuff
I see
together.
at work, not including them. Thank you, but
If you can talk to us online on one of our mediums, it allows us to involve more, conversation and more ideas for us to talk about on here.
We've rediscovered Twitter. We're much more active in it now. So there's that.
Twittering it up.
I learned how to do it.
Man, he's tweeting on the toilet.
All right, real quick. So when Cyberpunk got delayed, I immediately downloaded Twitter just to yell at CD Projekt Red. That's the only reason why I got it.
That's the most ridiculous reason I think anybody's ever made an account.
I wanted to vent to somebody. But then doing that, in the 10 minutes that it took me, I figured out how Twitter works. And so I look at our Twitter, I'm like, what is this crap? And so I give Mitch a bunch of crap for it. He's like, oh, I never learned how to do it. And I'm like, it took me 10 minutes, man. Social media guy. So
It's ridiculous.
all right, well,
Can't do this anymore.
all right.
Anyways, that's bye from us for this week.
Bye.
From Mitch.
Goodbye from Hayden.
Goodbye, Hayden. Goodbye, Tom.
Bye, Tom.
Goodbye.
What does this do?